Heavy underlining niko na deni yangu. Unaona. Ile ndio 50k ni pesa kidogo sana. Unajua hadi my hair.
So ukinifungia kwa ofisi tena dunda sana.
And if you find the right person for you, maisha yako inakuwa fit.
But have you found ama kitu ni view? Unajua if there's something I have learned in 2025, such kujifanya therapy guys. It's important. I'm going to elevator.
Elevator ilikuwa
cut the cameras.
Unapanda hivi.
No.
Unafika huko floors juu ya ngapi?
Therapy is free. Unajua mnafanyanga hiki kitu ikeni kama ni therapy is free online. Wewe hadi ChatGPT ni therapist wewe. Na tuona mtu akuita bibi, ndio.
Tatani kisimu kando.
Ni kumoto. Moto fire testing. From in the morning nauliza baby, where do you want to go? I said Sephora. Ananipata kofi la mpenzi haliumi. Amjai kofi la mpenzi. Squeeze hadi kuna simu za mkopo. Ati unalipanga 20 bob ndio uingie WhatsApp. Ndio tumie simu a day. Just nimeenda to my therapist and then akaniambia every single situation you actually choose to sit in, man, it becomes your reality, and aka ndio tunaiitanga thugging out. And you know the thing about us young people is the fact that to learn to thug out from the time yenye tulikuwa very very small, you know, venye unachapwa and then you're like, oh leo sitalia, ndio your girlfriend in class asikuone ukilia, the way haunanga pesa unaokoa jahazi unafuliza, that is thugging out. But you know, when we discuss these things, there must be a step. Nataka tu kujua, is hustle culture actually building us ama inatuharibu manze? And as usual, we usually have amazing people in the studio. I'll be your host, Dorka Sierra. But first, who are we with today on the hot seat? Hi, how are you?
Hi, I am Lily, digital lifestyle creator, based in Mombasa.
Oh my goodness, na wewe ni mrembo. Academic. All this light. Okay, and how are you, the gentleman?
Yes. My name is James Gitonga Mroki. I'm a freelance software engineer based here in Mombasa, Kenya.
Okay, so leo nataka tukujua kitu moja. Mume hustle. Na kuhustle ni nini mse? Like tukisema tuna hustle, kuhustle inakuanga nini? Tuanze na wewe leo.
Mimi. Hustle kwangu is basically doing what you love. Kwangu ni kufanya kitu na passion yako. That's basically hustle for me. Kwa sababu right now tuko na hiyo skill over degree. So most of the youth tuko sana based on skills. Ambo sana ni hustle. Than hiyo degree ya 9 to 5 job. Pia hiyo ni hustle lakini na feel outside. Iko bit.
Ni kunoma manze, ni kumoto.
Moto sana.
Okay, and to you?
Yeah, personally, peer hustle for me, it's doing whatever it takes to like achieving your dream and your goal which you have set in your life. So using your skills, hata kama ni kitu ambacho unapenda, kila kitu chochote, you put everything, your heart and soul into it to ensure to achieve your dream ambacho unataka kuachieve. That's what I hustle for me. So
I just want to know, I feel like so far so good. He hustling tunafanyanga just to survive. You know, when you're hustling, there must be an amount of money on a save. But I feel like siku hizi tunaishingi paycheck to paycheck. Look at it this way. Monday to Friday you're hustling. These days, Saturdays tunaonanga kama ni a time kuongeza extra money because we have worked overtime. So are we really hustling or are we surviving? Juu, tukisema you've worked Monday to Saturday and then on Sunday maybe it's your Sabbath, umeenda church, and then after church umejiekele umerest kweli. That is surviving. And I'm also looking at the fact that siku hizi hatunanga job security. It's either you have studied for a degree for years and then mtu mwenye amekuja na skill set yenye maybe alisoma Moringa because you are a software developer. I'm looking at people who go to PLP for a few months. Na wewe uko na degree umeshikilia hivi hadi unaongeza masters. And then all of a sudden this person jo ako na skill set imekushinda anakuachilia. Like ama anachukua job yako. So do we really survive or are we just hustling, man? Me, I'm confused in those two. Ama hustling ndio survive. Tusemange ukweli.
Tunasema zote. Ndio tunasema tu zote. Kwa sababu siku hizi una feel kama si hustle, maybe someone is taking my position. Unaona, if I'm not grinding, leo ni Sunday nimelala, maybe someone out there is doing something, let me go outside. So unakuwa na pressure to hustle, but at the same time you need to kuwa na plan, kuwa na what you want to do, yani unakuwa na mpangilio wa maisha other than hustling, because at the end of the day you need kupumzika. Si ndio? Yeah. So ni zote.
So hustling is surviving.
Yes.
Hustling
Oh my
is
God.
surviving as well. Kitu muhimu tu nafaa kuwe nao tu ni kuwe na a good border, like a line in between, like hii ni kazi na hii ni life yangu. Unaona kuna point nafika whereby people wanasahau kwamba kazi inafaa ibaki kwa kazi na nini ya life na baki kwa life. So unapata point whereby una push people aside, yani inakuwa you're too focused on your work, unasahau kwamba niko na ndugu yangu, niko na dada yangu, niko na marafiki zangu karibu na mimi, niko na demi yangu, unaona. So that fine margin people need to know ambao ni nini, alafu sasa itakuwa it's no longer like a push or nini, inakuwa something which you love to do.
Wow. Yeah. Heavy underlining niko na demi yangu. Una. So I'm also looking at the fact that siku hizi getting a legit job ni ngumu. When I'm talking about a legit job, I'm talking about a job inakulipia health insurance. Si shift na sha, achana na hiyo si health insurance. That's the government just trying to protect its people. See what I did there? And then also looking at a job that allows you to have time off, like time to be with your family, time for you to actually do something else. That's a legit job, especially if you actually studied for it. And then when I talk about a legit job, I'm talking about something that pays you 50k kwenda juu. Squeeze idea 50k ni pesa kidogo sana. Unajua hadi my hair. You know, so how comes it's actually easier to be a content creator? It's actually easier to open an OnlyFans and be rich in months than actually landing a legit job. And then I'm looking at the fact that for the past 10 years, tumekuwa na a series of young people who leave campus and they're like, hakuna jobs. Well, I'm looking at a series of young people who have given up to a point wanasema, it's easier to be an entrepreneur than to be an engineer. It's easier to be an entrepreneur than be a doctor. And these are jobs zenye wazazi wetu walikuwa wewe after high wewe kulikuwa kunoma. Yeah, so how come yani watu wame open OnlyFans to a point hadi mkipatana the way people used to bash you because it's a vice, it's no longer a vice. So what's up with that?
I feel most people wanataka ile freedom more than your locked time. Uko tuko ofisi, kuna mtu anataka maybe sasa nifanye 1 hour nifanye kazi yangu, 1 hour niende dunda. So ukinifungia kwa ofisi nitaenda dunda sana. I can. So I feel most people wanataka hiyo freedom. That's why unapata OnlyFans inafunguliwa. Creators tunakuwa wengi because of that freedom than kuwa locked up na time kwa kazi.
Okay.
Other than time pia you can talk about it's something which you enjoy to do.
By the way, because you work from home.
I work personally myself, I do work from home. Na as long as nimepanga siku yangu vizuri, like from this point hadi naweza nikajua okay naweza nikaamka at 10, but I know tasks zangu ziko vipi na nimezipanga vipi, and I know by the end of the day nitakuwa nimemaliza. That is something which you cannot get kwa corporate at all kabisa, hata kidogo. Saa 2 unafua umegonga, ushaingia hapo ndani, ukichelewa hata dakika 5 ndio unaliza umekuwa.
Ogopa. Kwani hizi corporate jobs zenu zinakaa aje? Mimi personally mnaingianga na chapa kazi naenda home. Hata mkiniona I'm ready to go home. Right, but on that note, I feel like the economy has become so bad, and one thing I must say is the world is very very superficial in this way, yeah. Pretty privilege. I feel like wewe ni msichana mrembo, kwanza flat tummy, mimi hata nimeficha kitambi bwana. Yeah, unacheki. Like with pretty privilege, you walk into a room and a man gives you a seat. You walk into an interview. I'm looking at kama Airways. Sijaiona mtu mwenye ameuma nje nikipanda ndege by the way akinisabu. Unacheki. Ama let's not even go far. Big restaurants zenye ziko huko Mombasa. I'm looking at CJ's, I'm looking at the likes of Kina Forodhani, I'm looking at wapi kwingine, the likes of Kina Chachoma. The waiters they get and the bouncers, si wameiva. You know, like for you to get these jobs, you have to be super super attractive. And I'm also looking at the dating scene. Siku hizi for you to get a beautiful babe, of course, because beautiful babe siku hizi the standard of beauty ni you've done your nails. Mimi sasa sijafanya. Guy normal. Unaona, you have to do your hair, you have to do your makeup. These things are really, really expensive. That inclusive of clothing. Unaona. So for me to find a man attractive, there must be something that he is giving to me. And so relationships have become transactional. So do you think that these days we date for love, or do we date for, what is it called? Appeal. Kitu inakusukuma wala, you know?
Yeah, so personally tukifika hapo the wale ambao inaenda siku hizi. Yani let's just call a spade, si ndio?
Sawa.
Tuseme tu kweli. People kama venye umesema watu wanatafuta like a pill of strength. There's like a huge generational shift. I remember one time nilikuwa nimekaa na babangu tunaongea, and we were talking about hizo mambo za venye kulikuwa kitambo and all that. Unajua then ilikuwa like, okay, this is your guy, umepewa huyu, tushaleta kila kitu.
Na mnapewa
na mambo inaendelea.
Like tuko for real, mlikuwa mnapatiwa partners like muli experience hivi ama ulisikia. Unajua there's one thing kusikia na kujionea hivi na macho.
Like mimi hizo time zao sikujua because I wasn't there practically, but from what Kenya nasikianga wakisema ni unaambua kuna kijiji fulani pale chini kuna mtu fulani tumeona unaenda hapo. So for them inakuwa like, okay, nimepewa hii, I will work with this. But with this current generation, even from the experience, even you yourself, atapia the people you have dated in your time ambayo imepita. Sahi the world has shifted more into like a materialistic thing, plus ukiongeza juu yake na how people have been educated. Unaona, mtu anafikiria like in the next 5 to 6 years mbele itakuwa vipi? Unaona, how are my kids going to go, like wataenda shule gani, like wataishi vipi, watakula nini? So once people start leaning towards that, dating inaanza kufall towards that direction. But I'm not saying kwamba kila mtu ako hivi, you know. Mimi mwenyewe I'm a firm believer of like the romance bado iko. I'm still an old soul, you know. I believe hizi vitu zinakuanga. And if you find the right person for you, maisha yako inakuwa fit.
But have you found, ama hiki tu ni theory? Unajua it's easy to say true love exists. It's okay to say, oh, I will find the right person, bro. Lakini hizi wedding zenu watu attendingi, you know, like ni kama mnamwanga, let's do this, let's live together 6 months. Inakataa, inaisha, you find somebody else. You know, mimi naonanga hiki tu ni, wewe kwanza uko na mtu ama unatuchocha.
I'll neither answer nor until my lawyers are present.
Walai.
But
so, I'd also love to know, I feel like for the longest time to romanticize 9 to 5. And I am looking at the likes of Kina Murugi Monyi. I'm looking at the number of people who are actually doing content creation long term. And then they went back to a 9 to 5 because of the safety of a paycheck. So Juicy on radio, I was talking about how Murugi Monyi talked about how she left her 9 to 5 and then she started doing content creation. So initially the reason why she started doing content creation for her page was because she was a young mom. Young kweli.
Yes.
Lakini mom. She became a mom. And then she found within her circle of friends, hakuna mtu yeyote alikuwa anatengeneza content yenye ina speak to her. And then she also looked at the internet. There was nobody who was doing that type of content. And she was talking about how in her first year she made 10 million. And then after unajua watu wanazoea content yako, competition inakuwa complicated and you need money. And then she was talking about how sometimes it's so hard even in a month to make 10K from content creation. And so she had to go back to the 9 to 5. But of course, hiyo yake si 9 to 5. And then I'm also looking at the number of people who have stuck to a 9 to 5 because of the comfort of knowing I'm going to earn 50K, I'm going to earn 20K, I'll be able to pay my rent. And then Juicy when I was talking to my therapist, by the way, if there's something I have learned in 2025, tacha kujifanya tendangi therapy, guys. It's important. Aliniambia any situation that you choose to be part of, you are a volunteer. Up until useme ini ufala, uamue kutembea na you call out the BS, you are a volunteer of that situation. When we are part of these 9 to 5 zenye zinatupatia that security, ya rent, ya food, we are always complaining. Oh, my boss. Oh, my. Why do we do this? Are we self-harming or are we actually growing ourselves? I just want to know.
Mimi personally, I'm in the hospitality industry. I'm more interested. Sasa nikianza content, nilikuwa naona kama ni ngumu because the only day niko na off ni one day a week. Ufue, ufanye content, usijui ufanye nini, so it was too much for me. Nikasema acha hii 95 kwanza I pause as I stabilize on what I love to do. So for me hiyo ku stop 95 and focusing on what I want to do grow, but sasa iko na so many challenges. Like here you don't know your next paycheck. Rent ndio hiyo kesho kutwa. Au na gig yoyote kwa zile za itakuwaje sasa, you know? So unalive tu ile na matumaini, but deep down unajua kinaweza umana anytime.
Yeah. As well, hata mimi mwenyewe hata being a software engineer si kuanza kama software engineer. Mimi mwenyewe I started as a graphic designer. Nilikuwa Nairobi at a small company. Na kama venye umesema hiyo 95 mimi I felt like it wasn't for me because where I was nilikuwa navaa multiple hats other than being a graphic designer. Pia mimi ni mtu wa IT, unajua. Na posiji flow gani hakuna internet. Ukanyage juu kuanzia flow ya chini upande mpaka juu.
Amkwagi na elevator.
Elevator ilikuwa
cut the cameras.
Unapanda
hivi. No.
Unafika huko floors juu ya ngapi? Uingie, afu unapata tu msee hapo shida ni ile inaitwa cable la jadungaga. Unaona. So hiyo like inakuwa much of a frustrate sana. Alafu naweza nikasema pointless meetings ambazo hata which can be just done over an email, a simple email. So inakuwa mambo mingi and I didn't actually enjoy that. But come post COVID sasa ambapo when the gig economy exploded sasa ambapo like people knew that okay naweza kuwa home and I can earn money, which of course was yes I waelewi. But during that period nilifashika tu software engineering and I started going through, I just found myself enjoying na furahia kenye nafanya like venye Lily amesema shida tu inakuja hapo tu kuconnect like from this job to the next job. Hapo inakuwa difficult. Alafu pia as a freelancer you wear multiple hats. Wewe ndio marketing team, wewe ndio accounts, wewe ndio manager, wewe ndio utafanya client discovery, wewe ndio therapist wako. Hata nasikia unaenda kwa therapist, good for you.
Bana, therapy is free. Unajua mnafanyanga hiki kitu ikeni kama ni therapy is free online. Wewe hadi ChatGPT ni therapist wewe. Snapchat siku hizi iko na kaficha ka kujiongelesha. Hadi WhatsApp hauna mi kwa chat za go talk to yourself. Therapist ni watu.
How elaborate your therapist?
Unajua but I just wonder hiki tu yenye tunafanyanga therapy online, does it really work? Like I don't know, it's like reading this self-help books.
Sometimes
it does. Has it worked for you?
Yeah, sana kwanza hiyo kusoma vitabu, going to the beach, yani imenisaidia sana.
For real?
Yeah.
Nasemanga you touch grass.
Lakini wewe ni Mombasa. Nyinyi wewe wacha mchezo.
Akashika mchanga wa beach.
Yeah. So it brings me to this question. I feel like as much as umesema, let it go to record. Evidence kwa karatasi. Umesema ours they don't really know, they don't understand, but I feel like there are things they actually understand. Like I feel like some of our parents had strategic marriages, you know. I feel like since time immemorial, marriages have been soft landing spots for the economic chaos. You will find a person depending on another in a marriage. I'm like, baby sina fare this morning. Tuna mtu akuita baby singe. Yeye amelenga hata stories za relationship. Lakini ni sawa tu. You know, like they have been landing spots for the economic chaos for the longest time. But now it's become even worse. Like I'm seeing the emerging of lavender marriages. Unajua lavender marriages namaanisha nini? Like when two straight people are not together. Okay. Hata hakuna way to explain. When two people who are not straight just get married for the sake, because I mean gay people are bashed all the time, you know, and maybe mimi siko financially okay. Unacheki and he's okay and yeye hayuko very straight. Sema uko straight but uko very straight. You know, like we get married so that he doesn't get bashed. I get married so that I have financial stability. I'm also looking at the number of strategic marriages zenye zinakuanga. I mean politicians kids marry other politicians kids, sindio? Like hawa watu wanakuanga together all the time. Like actually tunaonanga politicians attending their fellow politicians kids weddings and ni mtoto wa huyu ameoa huyu. Or CEOs, the way CEOs wanakwanga coinciding, they make sure their kids have gone to the same classes over and over again. They make sure their kids have gone to the same campuses. They make sure their kids immediately after they're working the same. You know what they're doing? They're setting you up for failure, bwana. You can't find anybody else, you know, because you guys know each other too well. You know, so what's up with that? Do you think marriages have become soft landing spots? And is it actually okay for you to be in a marriage where you don't love someone? You're just doing it to survive. And is this marriage a hassle now?
That's a good question.
Good question.
That's a good question. Okay. For me personally, like, tutaneke simu kando.
Ni kumoto.
Kumoto.
Kumoto fire testing. Wow.
For me personally, I don't think if it's worth going into a marriage that you're not happy. No matter how much.
But you're happy. You've gone for the money. Where money doesn't make you happy.
Money is not everything.
Okay, kelea hapa dhautano. It's not everything. Tashukuru. Walai.
Okay, money is not everything. I'm not a marriage expert, but what I can say is kuna sort of balance. It's a delicate balance. It's a delicate play. Ukiwa katika ndoa. Unaona. You may have pesa ambayo iko, but then you have an abusive husband. Utabaki hapo. Unaona. Like he abuses you emotionally and abuse physically. You know. So for me personally, I don't feel like it's worth being in a marriage. Hata kama pesa ni mingi, hata kama it's strategic for your future, it's not worth it to be in such a situation. At the end of the day, hata pia think about the kids that you're going to have. Like, for example, unarudi nyumbani and then mtoto wako anaona unapigwa. Unaona. You'll just grow up akiwa na resent the parent himself. Unaona.
But I don't know. Kama napigwa na ako USIU na brother yake ako private school na naendesha Range Rover. Is it really okay for me to sacrifice it? To go be kissed and then nipande tuk-tuk kila siku, hata achana na tuk-tuk. For me to be driving every day, matatu Mombasa, like the joto is crazy. Is it okay for me to actually sacrifice being given money every single day, pocket money? Kuamka in the morning naulizwa, baby, where do you want to go? I say Sephora. Ananipata kofi la mpenzi haliumi. Amjaya kofi la mpenzi, kofi la mpenzi.
Lakini siku hizi unajua hatuwezi sema haiko because iko kuna wenye they sacrifice, kuna wenye wako in toxic marriage kwa sababu ya pesa, kuna wale wako kwa hiyo marriage kwa sababu ya watoto wao. So it takes a lot.
Yeah. It takes a lot. But would you do that a lot as a woman? Maybe I'm looking at it this way. Josie, there's this word imekuja on TikTok, beekeeping age. So beekeeping age is when a man is between his 50s and 80s. He's no longer in his marriage. His kids are done with school. Like he doesn't have any financial issues. Anna kabisa. He just wants to spend his money on a beautiful girl will make him happy. So I just want to know, if you found a man right now who is like between his 50s and 60s, he has a big car, he's going to get you a car, show them your iPhone. Yeah, I might take me. Like he gives you a good iPhone. He gives you everything that you need in this life. Na ulikuwa na hustle. So umesema when you're content creating, haikwangi ashwali. Siku hizi kuna kwanga na to Ben 10. Surely. Ukipata mama county, akushikilia hivi tu vizuri, akupatia nyumba, akupatia gari. You guys want to tell me you won't take it? You guys won't take it.
Wewe utachukua?
Mimi mafala.
Wewe.
Mimi nitachukua. Guy, and I won't even look back.
I don't think kama hiyo age gap ni yenye naweza taka kuwa na mtu wa hiyo age gap. Ni mzee sana.
Ni mzee sana. Yeah. Simply. Yeah. Uzee tu ndio inakuhinda from getting money.
Sasa itakuwa niko zile za sasa huyu anachana babangu.
For real.
Hiyo tu ndio niko nayo kwa akili.
But ni wewe peke yake unajua. Yeah, like
it's sitaki kulive na hiyo guilt ya kuwa I'm here because napata pesa. That's why I'm trying to make it.
But why are you feeling guilty for being happy? Mnaona venye huwa mna romanticize suffering.
Hapana. Si aturomanticize suffering, pia unaangalia. Is it worth it? Ni kitu yenye utabambika nayo.
Yeah, wewe utabambika na nyumba kubwa.
For me, no.
Okay.
The age is the issue now.
Yeah, the age is the issue. But muna accept ni hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So dating people for money ni hustle.
Yes, it is.
Walai?
Yeah.
Sindio?
Yeah.
High five. Hustle ni hustle. Kazi ni kazi wewe. Changamka. Get on your Zoom. Haya. So I also want to know, do rich Kenyans actually hustle or do they just recycle privilege? Because I'm looking at it this way. Hadi nikisema I'm going to start from scratch. If my parent takes me to Strathmore or they take me to USIU, I'm sitting with governors' kids, I'm sitting with politicians' kids. These are people whose futures are usually guaranteed. Unacheki? And when I talk about recycling privilege, I'm looking at it this way. If I study with a person mwenye everyday anakuja na Range Rover, ama na drop na helicopter, inaniskuma. Like I already know these things exist in life, and so I have to push myself. If I compare myself to a person who is going to JQuat, if I compare myself to someone who is studying in some dingy school somewhere, maybe TUM, like nikiangalia venye umse anajiskuma na venye mimi najiskuma, nikipatana na wase wangu wenye tumezomea small cha immediately after class, mezoea watu wenye manze nimeinama, like our ambitions can never be the same. Even if we were in the same high school, even if we grew up in the same, it doesn't matter. Our ambitions will never be the same. When I talk about recycling privilege, I'm also looking at the number of people wenye humaliza shule and then mzazi anampatia job. Hey, job inamsukuma for like a year, and then they're like, you know what, I want to do my thing. But in job ilikuwa inakupatia 100k, 200k. So you are able to save up. I'm looking at the number of people who can actually leave school and go back at home and say, Mom, Dad, I don't want to do this course anymore. Watch a pesa behind. Yes, the parent is mad at you, but they're actually allowing you to thrive, and you're okay staying at home, you're eating at home, you're able to save. And I'm looking at the latter who actually have to hustle. Maybe you're working at the same workplace with a person who has to go home, they're eating at home, they're able to get their parents' car, they're able to get loans from their parents. Well, you're getting the same amount of money, but unalipa rent, like, are these people actually recycling privilege, or are they also hustling with us? Ni sawa tunalipwa the same, but this person is coming from privilege and they will sleep in the privilege. And this person is able to have an advantage over you of saving, and they're having the advantage over you of their mental health is actually better. So is this privilege or is this hustling? Ju lazima tuchore line manze. Lazima tuchore line.
Mimi naona ni kama
it is privilege.
Kwa sababu unapewa kila kitu, so hii yenye unapata huko ni yako. Ni ya juu tu, if you want to spend it, if you want to kuitumia vile unataka, ni yako.
Ni yako to at the end of the day. So even if mzazi amekukalia na kuongeleshanga vibaya, your mental health is vibaya, it is still privilege, ndio? Tuoshe mikono tukisema.
Well, personally I would say okay, sawa, at some point ni privilege. But you should look at the aspect of huyo mzazi alifanya bidii. So that mtoto wake akuwe. I myself am ready to sacrifice nifanye bidii mtoto wangu pia nimweke in such a position.
Real.
If he is mentally healthy, vile umesema, is doing well kiafya, kila kitu ako sawa. Then pia yeye anapata ile drive na ile motisha ya kujipanga kivyake. Unaona? So it's a privilege. Somewhat I'd say fine, it's a privilege.
Akunanga 50-50. Hadi the Bible inasema square lukewarm. Why amua kama ni privilege ama si privilege? Wallahi tena.
Ita regard na perspective. Yeye mwenyewe kimkalisha huyo kijana, yeye ataona kama ni privilege.
Yeah, ataona kama ni privilege.
Life it's normal. Maisha yanaendelea kama kawaida. Everything is going well. I'm making my own money. But in real sense, wewe mali umekaa ambao umetoka from the ground, unaona. Unaona ni privilege. So it's a matter of perspective.
Okay, then it brings me to this question. Do you feel like if you are working with such a person, it will actually be hard to navigate? Because one, wewe una hustle na una push. And then wow, unajua yeye haoni point. Like this person has the luxury of saying this is not working out for me, and they can walk out and go back to school, and the parent will be like, you know what, chonjo. Wewe maybe una hadi chakula noma. And at the same time you're working with this person who doesn't understand that you have to push and deliver. The world is not kind, especially to women, by the way. Wow, the world is not kind to women. At the same time, the world is easier for women. Unacheki? Kindness and easiness is the same thing. Unaona? So do you think working with such a person will actually be hard? Because I'm looking at the fact that we are working so hard to be in corporate spaces where we are CEOs. We are working to be in corporate spaces where we are in positions of leadership. And a lot of the time we find people when you wamekwa in strategic positions, not because they deserve it, but simply because the person who is above you can. So do you think unaweza navigate kazi na umse na ugrow? Na mukigrow, mnaweza toshana. Kwa hustle sasa. hustlesasa.com.
Hamwezi toshana. Kwa sababu yeye unajua pesa yake anajua venye anatumia. Wewe utayari ushajua umepata 20k, hii inaisha yote kwa rent. So unaambiwa kuna time gani ya kusave, unlike him or her. Yeye amepata 20k ametumia maybe 15 maybe amejiwekea. Utagross ngapi? Utagross ngapi? Important question. Na sasa ndio maana nimejileta kwa peak delusion. Peak delusion. I feel like in spaces where I have been talking to like some of the biggest CEOs. Some of the biggest ni wa around me, by the way. Some of the biggest like 2 or 3 nimepatana na wao in addressing peak delusion. It's good to address these issues. So when I speak to these people, I'm usually like, your companies, you're not paying interns. You know, a lot of these CEOs wanakuanga watu wenye wako 40 plus. I'm like, you're not paying your interns. And tuseme ukweli, see you guys interned somewhere for you to like graduate ama ufike mahali. It doesn't matter what you're studying. Hii dunia by the way, lazima ufanye kazi ya bure. Kazi ya So for those 3 months, you toil and moil for free. Not every company will pay you, and a lot of the time you have to have been an A student and then uko umesoma some big course and then you landed in a big company for you to be getting a certain amount of money. Na pia si kila department inapeana hii pesa. Unacheke. So looking at the fact that when you speak to these people, they're earning millions. Adi wanakuanga na bonuses on top, wako na transport allowances. These people are given cars by the company, but in turns wataishi kulipwa chai. And actually what's crazy is si kila mahali kuna hii chai. Manze hata mkate wa normal, like sometimes inakuanga too hard. And then I'm looking at the fact that when interns come into the workplace, I feel like Swahili Pot Hub Foundation was one of those places in actually easy to navigate. Like you can talk to people who were there before you. Hiyo chai utapata, you'll find people who support you when you cover overtime. Ama kukiwa na big events, say hukanjoka kitu. But I'm looking at places where you talk to these CEOs, unawambia adi chai hawa interns hawapatangi hata once a week. Hawapatangi fair. And then this person has romanticized suffering to a point anakuambia hata mimi sikupata. So yeye nafikiria because yeye hakupata, hiyo ndio kitu ilimshape. So pia wewe hauna right ya kupata. And then I'm talking about it as peak delusion in a way where they feel like it is their right to get the manpower of this intern because they have given them an opportunity for them to be in the company. Oblivious of the fact that watu wenye wanawake na wamekaa tu wamefunga hizi mikono. Hawafanyi kazi, hawafanyi kitu. You know, this intern is showing up from who knows, Changamwe maybe hana fare, show up from hana fare, and then it's a 9 to 5. The same 9 to 5 yenye inatesa mtu mwenye anakanjwa. Yeye hapati anything. So is this dynamic actually fair? Because if you're telling me unanilipa experience na natoka huko nje hizi jobs adi haziko, is it okay or should we actually do away with internship? Is it actually hustling? Mimi personally internship
ili kufanya mambo.
Alafu nini Kenya msemi ni mnapewa interns kazi nyingi. Ukienda kama wewe ni intern unapata umepewa kazi nyingi kushinda ule senior hiyo siku ya kazi. So unashangaa mimi silipi mbona unanipea hizo kazi zote? I'm here to learn, I'm supposed to look at what you're doing. Hata kama ni kusaidia maybe ni pole. So mi kwangu sisema ni hustle. It's just to get your experience, you know. Let's then kama they should do away with your attachment. It's a good thing. Just sema obviously kuna negative side na positive side, but it's a good thing.
But it's a good thing. But should interns actually be paid?
Yeah, they should be paid.
They should be paid. Sindio?
Lazima hata kama ni fair.
Hata kama ni token of appreciation, chai,
they have
snacks.
to get something.
That's all.
There has to be something.
There has to be something.
So it brings me to this question. When you're interning, you need fare from your parents. You need food because haulipwi. Sindio? And then I'm looking at the fact that most of us graduate from our campuses when you're between 22 and 23. Na pia si guarantee juu campus zetu hutufanya tungoje graduation for like 1 whole year. And juzi when I was looking at Google, nilikuwa naiuliza what's the right age for your parent to actually achilia you? You know? Yeah, and Google ikaniambia 25 years. Bro, Africa gani hii? And then I'm also looking at ChatGPT nikasema, Google might be wrong. You know ChatGPT ndio hadi siku hizi inatusaidianga kugraduate. I'm like, yo, what's the right age for your parent kuachilia you? It's again 25. So do you think this is reasonable, especially in Africa? And then at this 25, ukiachiliwa, you're still not okay. You know, like, wengi wetu tuliachiliwa at 18, wengine wetu tuliachiliwa at 20. Bro.
10.
Because, what are you going through? You know, and this is Africa. We have to be realistic. Like, not everybody is able to get a certain amount of money. Not everybody is able to get this amount of support. So, nyinyi kwenu mkiangalia, what's the right age kuachiliwa into the world to actually go hustle? 18.
For me, around 2023. That's a good point.
Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, 2023. Or I don't know. I know I'll be controversial, but paka mahali mzazi atuona, okay, this guy can. But for you personally, unajua for your peace of mind.
No, nafikiria mzazi anaweza ona tu.
Kuna ingine kila mtu upata mzazi tofauti.
Yeah.
Like, but wewe mwenyewe for your own peace of mind, wewe mwenyewe jaribu sana between 2023 umefunga na umejipanga kivyako.
Yeah, 2023.
At least huyo mzazi mwenyewe anaona kuna sort of responsibility. Ndio kijana amekuwa. Unaona, hata mwenyewe ataona, okay, it's high time for me nianze kumpa bigger responsibilities, pia kusaidia nyumbani.
Okay.
Unaona, yeah.
Oh my God. So as we close, you know, this thing is transactional, where your parent supports you, where your parent shows up for you. Inakwanga to an extent. Everything is transactional. Every form of love is transactional. Whether it's a relationship with your significant other, of course, unaombangwa pesa ya salons, ndio? Lazima utaombwa. As a woman, you must look a certain way for you to be loved to an extent. Like, ni must. Lazima ukae fiti. Like, love is always transactional. And I'm also looking at the fact that tunaendanga nyumbani at the end of the year, whether you're in campus or not, whether ulitoka nje kuhustle or not. And I feel like there is a thin line between showing off and actually being broke. So do you think showing off is actually expensive? Ama we are actually broke? Juu, siku hizi hakuna mtu anataka kutumia kadudu. Oh my God, mimi sitaki kutumia katululu. Mimi hadi niko na Tecno, akibosi yangu naomba iPhone. Mimi ni asking for many. Unaona, nobody wants to use a katululu in public. Hakuna mtu anataka kuendesha Vitz. Everybody wants to drive a Range Rover, tusemange ukweli, you know? So I just want to know, is showing off expensive or are we just broke? Juu, siku hizi hadi kuna simu za mkopo. Ati unalipanga 20 bob ndio uingie WhatsApp. Ndio utumie simu a day. So 20 bob unalipa miaka 2. You know how much money that is? Mingi sana. Heri hadi uchukue loan kunyonge. You know, so are we broke or is showing off actually expensive?
Showing off, okay, if you can do it, fine. But if you can't do it, it's expensive for you. Just try to be humble and live within your means.
Na unaweza hustle kila siku na mkanga tu, you don't show off. Like uonyeshangi watu the work of your hands.
Kama una.
Like you've never wanted to sit on a table with people juu nyinyi wote inajulikana mna hustle, wewe ndio unataka kulipa the bill. Hamjaitaka.
Unataka, but sasa you're not in that position, okay? Hawezi jilazimisha. You are hustling towards kuwa in that position. So haina getting the pressure now. Mimi kuna iPhone, hata I'm supposed to. Uende ufanye vitu ambazo they're not even right to you just to get an iPhone.
It's not worth it.
Yeah,
it's not worth it.
I'm a high advocate of being humble. Kabisa.
Show off is really expensive.
It's really expensive and it's not even worth your time. Mtu unaweza enda ushow off huko, like unaendesha gari ambazo umechukua na mikopo and all that. Alafu sasa unawekwa kama kwa committee hivi ya harusi na mbona, okay, hi. Tunakujua wewe ndio bazuu, wewe ndio big boy. Tusaidie. Na uwezi saidia hapo. Unajiaibisha wewe mwenyewe.
Okay. So this is our last question, and I feel like the reason why tumefunga nayo, it's because me personally it weighs heavy on me. I feel like one, rest is shamed. ukiwa kwa mzazi saa nne mzazi ashakuli bana umelala mpaka saa hii, what do you mean? Na unaamka kuangalia TV ama unaamka kuosha vyombo zinaweza oshwa hata saa 10 or not, like si must, you know. And then I'm also looking at a world where burnout inavaliwa like a badge of honor. Watu wenye wanaendanga mjengo hawezi mwambia hawezi mwambia kitu mtu wa mjengo, hawezi ambia a driver wa matatu mwenye ameshinda akihustle since morning that they have not done enough. Like that burnout wanaiva, actually they feel like they do more work than people who work in offices. I'm looking at wase wenye usukuma mkokoteni, watu wenye huokota takataka kwa barabara, like they wear their burnout with a badge of honor. Like wezi wambia you're doing too much or you're working overtime, you know. Like suffering siku hizi tumei-romanticize to a point. Like it's like people are ashamed to actually just sit down. If you work like 3 hours, mzazi wako hawezi elewa venye you work just 3 hours. What do you mean you're a content creator? So I just want to ask, at what point did rest and these luxuries, small luxuries of life, like going on vacation, like actually taking some rest for yourself, taking yourself to a restaurant, when did these things become luxuries of the rich? Like at what point did they become luxuries of the rich? And as a hustler, am I actually allowed to take myself on vacation nibaki in debt basi? Kujirudishia mulipon. Like, you know, sometimes you can't afford these luxuries, you know. But is it okay for me to actually take a loan? Kujambia pole. Is it okay for me to tell my boss, you know what, I can't come into work, work is too much, work is killing me? Is it okay for me to tell my partner, you know what, you're too much, you're doing ABCD, you're hurting me, it's okay for me to leave? Like at what, like what's the fine line? Because hustle ni hustle. Hadi relationships tumesema ni hustle.
The moment umefikiria unataka kuambia boss umechoka, you're already tired.
You're already tired.
The moment umefikiria,
as long as you have the thought.
Yeah, you're already tired. So if it doesn't really sit right or well with you, you can just take a break. Because mimi kwangu nimeka rest is a must. And I no longer glorify burnout. No. Rest ni lazima. Hiyo nayo ni lazima. Because unajua mwili zetu tusipozipea rest zitatuitisha. Like kuitisha ni mbaya, unaweza end up kwa hospital ama anything kufanyikia. So to glorify burnout anymore. If you feel like you need to take a rest, take a rest. Hautachapa.
Kama unaweza chukua mkopo na unajua venye utaregesha, chukua, enda upige moyo ukonde, urudi ukiwa fit. Patia moyo shukrani, urudi ukiwa fit. But never glorify burnout. I myself I'm a victim of burnout. Na mpaka leo nasikianga like the side effects of burnout. Like hata nikiwa nakaa nasikia my back inasumbua, you know. So for those 3 years ambao nilikuwa nasema I'm wearing this burnout with with honor, nasema like okay, hustle yangu imenifikisha hapa and all that. I'm very proud. It wasn't worth it because you end up disconnecting with family. Number one, you end up disconnecting with the relationship that you have, even your friends who are close. Like the only thing that pulled me out is when I sat down nikajiuliza siku moja, hivi leo nishike simu nipige hivi, niko na shida fulani, nani atakuja aje anisaidie? Immediately ata drop kila kitu na kuja anione. Kama ni mwapush away because na glorify hustle yangu. So it didn't make sense. So I had to change. I had to be better. I had to take walks. I had to drink more water. I had to take breaks. Kama Sunday siwezi shika simu. Sunday hata unipigie Sunday uniambie sijui sitashika hiyo simu because I have to connect with family, I have to connect with friends and refresh so that Monday I come back to being better. Yeah, so never glorify burnout at all, never.
Oh my God, so is hustle culture helping us or is it actually killing us? Do we need the hustle? This is a hustler. So I just want to, is it helping us? Ama inatumada?
So in one way, it helps because kutoka, it's hustle culture. Okay, in some way, it's some sort of a vice, but not such a vice. But it's a good vice.
It's a good vice.
It's a good vice because I'd rather have kijana mdogo asikunywe pombe na asikule mugoka ama asumbuke huko nje, but akona hustle yake ana focus on inampa hiyo drive ya kila asubuhi anaamka. Because for us human beings, we really crave on purpose. We need a purpose for us to kutoka kwa hiyo kitanda. Even for me, I knew I had to be here. Leo asubuhi nikaamka mapema, nikajitayarisha nikakuja hapa. for a young person having purpose in their life, it's very good for them. The fine margin is when this hustle culture inaanza interfere with your life, that's when it becomes not good for you. Right? Okay. So you have to navigate that thin line. Yes, I'm proud of my work, but it should not interfere with my friendships. It should not interfere with my relationships. It should not interfere with my family. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, and for you?
Amesema yote.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, so I'd love to know tunaweza wapata wapi. And oh my goodness, every single person who comes to this show namulizanga kama uko na mpe. So ukisema tunaweza kupata wapi, wewe sema pia kama uko na mtu ama kama unafaa kutafutwa in those lines. 2025 tulisema tuna attend weddings, guys. Yeah.
Hata yako pia.
Oh my God, amen. Lakini kuna mali nimekosea. Hesabu zimeua nje. Yeah.
So Lily K, Instagram, TikTok. That's the only platforms niko nazo.
Okay. Yeah. Kai, for once mtu mwenye yuko Facebook, makofi. Makofi te. Okay.
Yeah, James Gitonga, Muroki, Twitter, ama ni X quiz. Ni X nanipata at James Trevor. Kama silalamiki mani huko, I'm talking about tech. Yeah, so umesema kama tuko na watu. Yeah, mimi niko hivyo tu venye niko.
Uko tu venye uko. As a software engineer. He's a liar.
Niko tu venye niko.
And you wewe hujasema kama uko na mtu. Oh my goodness. But it's been good, it's been lovely. Mimi kama kuna kitu nimelearn leo ni usijidanganye ati una save. Nani atakula? But it's been good, it's been lovely. My goodness, you can find me every single day, Monday to Friday, that is, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Swahilipot FM 91.7, Swahilipot Cafe, of course. And of course, right here on the Hotpot Show. It's been good, it's been lovely. Till next time, I've been your girl, Dorcas Sierra.